So you're thinking about diving into the world of coding. That's awesome. But I gotta ask, where do you even start? It can feel like there are a million different paths.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to become like a syntax master or more of a problem-solving guru?
Right.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, and that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. We're dissecting this super interesting article called How to Learn to Code: Traditional Syntax Mastery versus Creative Problem Solving. And get this, they actually use this really cool metaphor: the red pill versus the blue pill.
The Matrix.
Exactly, straight out of the Matrix. But don't worry, you don't have to be Neo to understand this. Basically, the red pill is like the traditional route to coding. And the blue pill, that's all about a problem-solving approach. So get ready, because we're going to break these pills down and hopefully help you figure out which one might be your perfect match.
Sounds good.
All right, let's crack open this red pill first. So what's the deal with this whole traditional route? It's about mastering the fundamentals, right?
Absolutely. Think of it like learning, say, a new language, but you start with all the grammar rules, syntax, vocabulary specific to each coding language.
Okay.
Getting comfortable with different frameworks.
Frameworks. Okay, pause for a sec. For those of us who are just starting out, what does that even mean in the coding world?
Oh, good point. Imagine you're building a house, right? A framework is like having a pre-built foundation and walls. Gives you that structure so you don't have to start from scratch every single time.
Yeah.
In coding, you've got popular frameworks, things like React, which is for web development, or TensorFlow for machine learning. They give you those pre-written components, which honestly saves you a ton of time and effort.
Ah, that makes way more sense. So this red pill path, it's like getting all those foundational pieces in place, mastering the building blocks of code.
Yeah.
But the article also mentioned some potential downsides to this approach. They made this analogy to memorizing the entire dictionary. Like, you might know all the words, but can you actually tell a good story with them?
Exactly. And that's the big question. This red pill path, yeah, it's great for a solid base, but it can sometimes lead to, some people call it code monkey syndrome.
Code monkey.
Yeah, like you can write lines of code perfectly, but if you don't get the why behind them, you might hit a wall when you have to adapt to new situations or solve problems creatively.
Oh, I see.
It's like knowing how to play all the notes on the piano, but not actually understanding how to compose a symphony.
It's not just about the rules. It's about knowing when and how to actually use them.
Exactly.
Which leads us to our other kind of mysterious option, the blue pill. What mysteries does this pill hold for all us aspiring coders?
Well, with this path, it's all about understanding the logic and the structure behind the code at a deeper level.
Okay.
So instead of memorizing how the syntax works, you learn to think like a programmer.
Okay.
Approach problems systematically, break them down into smaller steps that you can actually solve.
So instead of memorizing every single word in the dictionary, it's more like understanding how to build a sentence, then a paragraph, then like a whole story.
Exactly. Think of it like understanding the structure of a novel. It's not just about the words on the page, but how they all work together to create a story that people actually want to read. The blue pill helps you see those bigger connections in the code. So you become more like, I don't know, a digital architect rather than just a line-by-line translator.
So the blue pill is about developing, what do they call it? Algorithmic thinking.
Yeah.
Honestly, that sounds kind of intimidating. What's that actually look like in practice?
It's not so much about knowing all these complex formulas and stuff. It's more about approaching problems, with that programmer's mindset.
Yeah.
Imagine you're baking a cake. You wouldn't just toss all the ingredients in a bowl at once,
Likely
right?
not.
You follow the recipe, that step-by-step process to get that perfect cake.
Right.
That's kind of what algorithmic thinking is.
Mm-hmm.
You break a problem down into smaller, easier steps. You find those patterns, and then you come up with this logical sequence of instructions to solve it.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's like, instead of just using a cake mix, you're learning to create your own recipes from scratch.
Exactly.
You understand the why behind each ingredient and how they all work together.
Yeah. And just like with baking, coding has all these different techniques and approaches.
Right.
Like knowing when to use a loop, which is basically repeating a set of instructions a bunch of times.
Okay.
Or recursion, which is when a function, it actually calls itself to solve a problem.
Whoa.
These are the kind of things that make your code elegant, more
Yeah.
efficient. And you get those insights by really grokking the underlying principles, not just memorizing lines of code.
So it's about understanding the tools, the techniques, so you can build any kind of digital cake you can dream up.
Exactly.
Now, the article mentioned this platform, Algocademy. something about how they cater to both red pill and the blue pill learners. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, and I think it's really important to remember, we are not here to endorse any specific platform.
Of course, of course.
But they did make a good point about Algocademy. It looks like they offer this blend of both worlds. You got in-depth courses on specific languages, frameworks for your red pill folks. Mm-hmm. But they also really emphasize problem-solving challenges, algorithmic thinking for those blue pill enthusiasts.
So they're trying to bridge the gap between these two approaches, like offering something for everyone.
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the best path for you is going to be what clicks with you.
Yeah.
Your learning style, your goals, all that.
Makes sense. You can't just pop a pill and boom, become a coding whiz overnight.
Right.
It's about finding what works for how your brain operates and what you want to accomplish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some people love that structure. You know, mastering all the rules first before tackling the big picture. Yeah. That red pill approach might be their jam.
Right, right.
Others, they want to dive right in, figure things out as they go. They're probably going to love that blue pill path.
It's like some people, they need a super detailed map.
Yeah.
And then you got your explorers who love to blaze their own trails, but both can lead to incredible discoveries. So whether you're leaning red pill or blue pill, you got to know your own strengths, what you're into. But this brings up a good question. Why is it such a big deal to figure out your coding style in the first place?
That's a great question. It goes back to something the article touched on. The skills you're learning today, they're going to shape the tech of tomorrow.
Okay, that's huge.
It is. Think about it. The tech world, constantly changing. New languages are popping up all the time. Old ones are always evolving.
Always, yeah.
And the problems we need to solve with code, getting more and more complex.
So you're saying it's not enough to just learn, like the coding languages we have right now, you have to develop this like adaptable problem-solving way of thinking so you can actually keep up in the tech world as it changes.
That's it. And that's what makes choosing the right learning path for you so important.
Right.
Think about it. Are you someone who really likes to master all the small details before even looking at the big picture? Mm-hmm. Maybe that structured approach of the red pill is more your thing.
Okay.
Or maybe you're someone who loves to dive right into a challenge. You like to experiment and kind of figure out the rules along the way.
Yeah.
Then the blue pill path might be more your style.
And the cool thing is the article even mentioned this. It doesn't have to be just one or the other. Oh. You can blend the two, right?
Absolutely. Like finding your own coding cocktail.
I love that.
Maybe you start with a super strong foundation in a specific language that's your red pill phase. But then you layer in problem-solving challenges. You check out different frameworks. That's your blue pill awakening.
I love it. Finding that perfect blend that maximizes like your learning and then your creativity down the line. But one thing that really stuck out to me from the article is it's not just about becoming some coding whiz. It's about what you actually want to do with those skills.
Yeah, and that's so important. Coding, at the end of the day, it's a tool. It's a way to take your ideas and make them real.
Right.
In the digital world, right?
Yeah.
It's like, imagine this. You're not just learning how to use a paintbrush. Mm-hmm. You're discovering all these crazy possibilities of what you can create with it.
Wow. So it's about like finding that sweet spot where your passion and your skills and then those problems you actually want to solve in the world, they all kind of come together. It's about more than just lines of code. It's about building your own digital masterpiece.
Exactly. And whether you feel drawn to that precision of the red pill or that kind of like creative exploration of the blue pill, just remember your coding journey is really a testament to how you learn, how you adapt, and how you're going to shape the future with technology. It's an exciting path, and honestly, I can't wait to see what you create.
That's a wrap on today's deep dive. Hopefully this episode gave you a fresh take on how to approach the world of coding. Remember, it's not about picking the right pill. It's about finding what empowers you to build something amazing. Until next time, happy coding.